You're listening to Purple City's Sonic Waffle with me, Bayfield. This episode we've got Wrongtom in the place. Wrongtom's a London-based DJ and producer, specialising in reggae, dub, all that good sound system magic. Also a knowledge on pretty much, well, every type of music. I first came in contact with Wrongtom via Twitter. We do cover it in the episode. Basically, we were both banging on about how good the beat Too Clumsy was by Fergie, the former meth addict and former Black Eyed P. She might still be in Black Eyed Peas. To be honest, she might still be on meth. I'm not sure. Yeah, we started chatting about that. It's a pretty niche thing to start talking about. Wrongtom, as you will find out in this episode, is a man whose knowledge of pretty much every form of music and film and culture is almost bottomless. He's played pretty much every festival and apparently heard every record ever made. I could have talked to him for about 4 days. It just is insane the amount this man knows. Also doesn't take himself too seriously, which is possibly the greatest thing about him. It was a really good chat, really informative. He's a man who's very honest about the industry. He doesn't butter it up. He doesn't talk a load of shit about socials. And he's not worried about impressing the sponsors. Perfect Purple City fodder. We cover a few things, a lot of festival tales, start some vicious rumours about Chaz and Dave. Joss Stone pops up again. She's becoming a regular feature on this podcast. Not quite sure how or why that keeps happening, but shout out Joss Stone. Sorry, love. So have a listen. I'll quickly tell you, if you enjoy the podcast, please like and, come on, you know what you're doing at this stage. More useful, as much as it'd be great if you would like and share and all that, buy some stuff from our Bandcamp and buy some of Wrongtom's stuff, man. Support the crew. Get involved. Buy some records, buy some downloads, or just leave stuff streaming endlessly with the volume turned down when you go to bed and that, because apparently that matters these days. Probably butt you up fully at the end with all the links for that stuff. But we've got a Patreon, we've got a Bandcamp, we're in digital. It's not hard, is it? You know what you're doing. Come on. You all use Google endlessly. Why not punch the words Purple City, Souffle, and Wrongtom into that evil devil machine? Rant over. Here's the podcast. Thanks.
Sonic Waffle. Listen. Fuck what you heard.
Yeah. So if you're not making stuff for middle-aged people, it doesn't matter. Just do what you're doing.
Yeah, but no young people buy anything.
Well, that's true.
The problem is middle-aged people will still buy records.
Yeah. But that's it. And then you have to start making middle-aged music. I'm in the middle because I'm 44. So I'm kind of like on the other. I don't appeal to the older middle-aged man pushing fucking retirement, and also I don't appeal to the kids. So I'm just like,
I don't know though,
in this weird no man's land.
But your stuff, I would say your stuff kind of skews like a lot of the remix stuff, like Roots and Ragga Twins, people like that. That's the stuff that somehow sits in both categories. Like,
but sort of at the same time, none.
I know what you mean.
It's funny. It's kind of like I just found over the last decade that I've got little pockets of fan base around the world, like handfuls of people here and there, and I sell a few records.
Because I always thought you're from here, this area, right?
No, I'm from South.
Oh right, because I always thought you were from Brighton for some reason.
I'm on Tru Thoughts.
Yeah, I know that. No, I thought you were. Because did you start in a jazz band? Did you start playing live?
I used to be in a funk band.
Oh, that was it?
Sort of jazz funk band. I think Tru Thoughts have got me on their thing saying I was in a jazz band. We weren't jazz, I mean, if it was jazz, it was shit jazz. It was fucking
I secretly think a lot of jazz is shit now.
There is a lot of shit jazz.
I struggle with it.
There's a lot of shit reggae. There's a lot of shit music. Let's face it. You just find the right tunes and you're like, fucking hell, this is... years ago I would have said, there's
so much good stuff if you get past the crap at the crap.
But this
at the
is,
top.
it's the same with jazz, man. It's just, I was brought up on it, so I kind of, I came in hearing good shit.
Yeah, I think I've just heard the shit you get in rubbish Italian restaurants and stuff. I've only really come in at entry level.
Well, there's a lot of shit Italian restaurants as well, aren't there? So
I'll try not to go to those. I can't remember. I can't remember how we got talking actually originally, because I've been speaking to you on Twitter for ages, and I think we were talking about the beat to a Fergie solo tune, which is ridiculously good. Is it Clumsy?
Clumsy.
Yeah, the beat's so good. And I think that was. I saw you tweet it and I was like, this guy knows his shit.
Yeah, I love Clumsy.
It's such a good beat, isn't it? But is that Will.i.am?
Yeah. I think it was Will.i.am.
He begrudgingly, he might be a genius.
Yeah. I think Will.i.am, when he's good, he's really fucking good, and then he does his own tunes.
And they're awful.
Yeah.
That one with Mick Jagger and J-Lo is one of my favourite awful tunes to roll out on a YouTube shuffle.
That's up there with that project with oh god, what's her name?
Oh, Super Heavy,
Heavy,
we actually played that on our radio show on our Carnival special, just as a joke.
Jesus.
We put a Super Heavy track on there. That one, on the video, Mick Jagger's running around in a pink suit in like New Orleans or something.
And that's the least absurd part of it, really.
Is it Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics in that
I think
as
so,
well?
yeah.
And a percussionist.
Yeah, he's on production and guitar.
Fucking horrendous.
Jagger and what's her face on vocals.
Just
Stone. We're not recording it, are we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is how it works, man. This is how it works, man. It's alright. Me and Ruxpin spent about half an hour talking about what a toss of Just Stone was, and we got onto the kidnappers that got caught trying to kidnap.
I should watch my lip. Just is my mate's ex.
Oh really?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never met her.
Anyway, we just chat. If necessary, you can request edits.
Look, it's not personal, but Super Heavy was fucking ridiculous.
I mean,
have you ever seen the video for one of her own tunes? She got her brother to direct a video.
Right.
I can't remember what it's called, but it is mental.
I feel like
absolutely mental.
I will have at some point have seen this.
Oh god, Adam Buxton did one of his descriptions of Genius.
Oh right.
With his character Ken Corder, and where he just basically does a running commentary while it's playing, and it's something to behold. Honestly,
I'll track it down. I'll put it in the comments after the.
What's her name? There's a sort of comedy actress that's knocking around at the moment. She's got a bit of a pointy nose. No, it's not Brie Larson or no. God, what's her name?
Don't know.
Aubrey Plaza.
Oh right.
Like she's in it.
Okay.
Inexplicably.
Well, is this a new video?
It's old. It's a really early role
because isn't Joss Stone like borderline landed gentry in Cornwall?
Maybe. Yeah.
I think her family are like Devon.
So yeah,
I think her family are like she's like like a socialite.
The family Stone.
Yeah, the literal family. There's a video of her recently actually. It's probably Ruxpin that sent me it. He keeps me up to date on what Joss Stone's doing embarrassingly now. But she's just singing over some guy playing it's like a handmade instrument.
Yeah.
He's like a villager, and she's just like warbling over it, and it's just like the most literal class tourism video, like just millionaire white girl just ruining someone.
She went to. I think she had some plan to do a tour, and this is my mate Blatch who used to go out with her. I think he put the tour together. She went to every country. Or she tried to go and do a gig in every country in the world. Right. She might have been like expelled from Syria or something like that. And it's
just for being Just Stone.
Maybe they saw that video probably.
She never wears shoes.
How could you do that to Aubrey?
She's always not got shoes on stage. So
like Michael Franti from Spearhead. Remember them disposable windows? Yeah. He never used to wear shoes.
Yeah.
He's very very connected with the earth. Except I saw him play the Scala. And he was wandering around King's Cross barefoot, and I was just like, and this was when King's Cross was full of smackheads.
Yeah, not really
everywhere.
The time to not be wearing shoes.
Like, I hope you've got very tough soles, mate, because you're going to be standing on needles.
Although I saw Horace Andy walking around Whitstable with no shoes.
He's always around there.
I saw him. I was like, that guy looks like Horace Andy. And then I walked past the pub where he was playing. I was like, oh, it is Horace Andy.
He was playing down a pub in Whitstable.
So there's a really weird pub in Whitstable called the Duke. It's a hotel. It's called the Duke's, and from what I understand, the guy who owns it used to be a promoter in London, or still is to some degree. Well, this is what I've been told. But so what he does is when artists play London, he books them at the hotel, puts them up, and does like a little warm-up gig because they all love it because it's like 100 cap, really nice little room. Like But yeah, it's like I went and saw KRS-One on the Far Side there. Ghostface Killer was meant to be coming, but he cancelled. Horace Andy played. And it's just like reggae and hip hop. On a Tuesday in Whitstable, you just might see KRS-One getting some dinner or whatever.
Yeah, popping out for some oysters.
Yeah, literally. Like I saw little brother getting some, like just in the street, like looking around, and they were just. One of them was like, "What is this place, man?" They were just like so confused by this little fishing village. But yeah, I think apparently he was like a London promoter. But you can get a good. There's a good scene for white people reggae and hip hop in Whitstable.
Jill Scott. No, what's her name? Joss Stone. Jill Scott will be there. Joss Stone will definitely be there.
Yeah, Joss Stone will definitely be involved.
Who's the famous guy from Whitstable? He was in Star Wars.
Oh, Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing
That's who the Weatherspoons is named after. Yeah, it's great. It's next cinema. It's massive, and it just used to be me in there on like a Wednesday morning because the town's deserted during the week.
Peter wouldn't be there.
No, he won't go spoons.
No. Well, I just know everywhere I went, his face was looking over you, and it was like it was like Peter loved the cream tea in here.
I think it's one of those things. I think he's been co-signed by a lot of stuff he may or may not have been involved in.
Yeah. I went for 2 cream teas. Well, I like a cream tea, and I went for 2 there because you don't really get cream tea in London.
Do you know? I don't.
No, there's like a couple of places. It's normally kind of like those touristy, like high tea.
Right. And you have to spend 80 quid and spend a whole day.
Yeah, like Mrs. Bouquet types will come in from the home counties and, like get specially dressed up for it, and they'll, their daughter spent 80 quid for them to have finger sandwiches. But if you want a nice scone, some, like a nice cream tea, just a scone, bit of jam, like you have to pop out to the provinces.
You got to get out to the shores.
I spotted someone doing cream teas and went in there and Whitstable. I was just like, fantastic. And then I went to another one that was really shit. Right. And they were the one that had...
Did you go straight after? Were you just like back to back cream teas?
Back cream teas. I mean, I could eat cream teas all day, personally.
I don't know what the shit want to be. The thing is, there's loads of weird places that like open one day a week.
Really?
Because they're all owned...
That's the seaside, isn't it?
Well, and they're all owned by like that. There's a cheese shop that does like raw cheeses and stuff. It's like really, really sought after, and it's like a known, cheat for the heads.
Cushing was in there all the time for you.
Like the guy is like an ex-hedge fund manager or something. So he's
Cushing?
No, he probably is too. There's probably a bank that says Cushing opened up his first hedge fund here. But the guy just opened up one day a fortnight. So we'd be like, should we get some cheese? Oh no, it's shut for an indeterminate
I mean, surely, like, if you only open up once every fortnight, the cheese that you had in there 2 weeks ago is going to be
I think it's all some sort of... I think they're all tax dodgers. Or they're just like, people's wives that are in Whitstable whilst the husband's hedge fund managing. It's like, here's some money, open
there's
a shop.
something to do.
Like, leave me alone. Leave me to make my money. You go and play over there.
Nice.
But so it's a bit weird like that. There's some odd venues. But I don't think I ever had a cream tea in Whitstable.
Well, I had 2.
But there used to be some good UK garage raves at the Neptune as well.
Well, yeah, and cream teas and UK garage.
It's like a weird. It's just like bits of culture wash up there. Like it's like a weird just. Like, do you prefer working like remix stuff? Because a lot of your stuff is obviously kind of like. The first thing I obviously found was Duppy Writer, which is secretly probably Roots Manuva's best record. I think. I love all the other ones. Don't get me wrong, but
no comment.
That to me, I don't know. I think that just suits him stylistically. I think but like, how do you work with that stuff? Does like with that one, did Roots actually work with you, or were you just kind of given the stems and left to?
I was originally.
Devices?
I was just given loads of... I wasn't even given stems, I was given loads of acapellas.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is kind of how I wanted it. I wanted it to not hark back to anything that he'd done. Like, but the original idea... Sorry if people are listening and they've heard me say this before, but my original idea, like... Because Roots Manuva's production and the people that he did work with was so futuristic and kind of just, like, fucking out of this world, Track like like his classic Witness.
Yeah.
I did read somewhere years ago that his idea was to just create the sound of a spaceship taking off. And and it's like stuff like that. It was kind of daunting, but I like a bit of a challenge. So I was thinking about it, and I was kind of like, how can I do this and do it the way I want to do it, and not have someone go, well, the original's fine. Why did you bother doing that?
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, I like making old reggae tunes. I don't particularly feel the need to like carve my own niche.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I make a load of backing tracks that just sound like old reggae and old dancehall, and make it sound like his tunes are the remixes, and someone's uncovered all these old reggae tunes and dancehall tunes that he happened to do vocals on.
Them up.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was just where I came from. I even went as far as sampling like Record Crackle. And because of that, people were just like, "Oh, you just sampled old reggae tunes," which in one breath is really cool. It was it was nice. It was just it's like, it sounds that authentic. Yeah. But then I realised it's just I put all that effort in, and people are just like, "Oh, you just looped a reggae
just
tune," like Show FX did. I love Show FX as a producer, but there was a reggae tune that he did a few years back.
Oh yeah, because there was going to be an album, wasn't there?
Yeah. Who was the singer? Was that Liam something or?
Yeah, I know the one. Liam Bailey?
Yeah. It's a great tune, but it is basically an 8-bar loop.
Well, he's just done a mixtape recently, isn't he?
Yeah.
It finally came out, and it's good, but it is definitely a mixtape. It's not like an album that was poured over for X amount of years.
I love that, and it's just it's properly raw. One of my favourite Massive Attack tunes, which a lot of people disagree with, is the cover of "Light My Fire" on the second album.
Oh yeah, it's live with.
I'm not sure it is live.
It sounds live.
It's sort of, they got live things in there.
Yeah.
I know Daddy G, and I always meant to, like, whenever I see him, I always like go ask him if they actually did record that live. But I love the fact it's just a loop of Jackie Wilson's version of "Light My Fire,"
right,
with some extra drums chucked over the top, and then Horace singing on it, and it's proper just old school,
simple, straightforward
drums singing.
Well, it's like, it's the same with good jungle and stuff, like, because as well, I come from like dubstep music primarily. It's probably the first electronic music that I really got into on like a sad collector's, kids level. But like, actually, half of the technical stuff you don't need it.
No.
Like, just a banger's a banger.
Yeah.
And like sometimes they sound better shit. Like that's why I don't really rate drum and bass, but jungle I find so much more engaging just because it's a bit crustier.
It's raw, isn't it?
It just feels more like it's been thrown together with a few bits and bobs.
But I love kind of DIY, not actual DIY. I'm really shit at actual DIY. But I love DIY music and just DIY art, like films, old B movies and things like that are wicked, just because you kind of like, you get that visceral sense of almost being there with the guy filming it.
Well, it's kind of like, it's the same with things like The Harder They Come and some of those Jamaican movies and like blaxploitation, where you can literally see where they've like duct taped the corner of the setup in the shot, and it's just like, there's something about it that you like. I actually admire that it's more important to get it done than to get it done perfectly.
You just point at the camera.
Getting the fucking thing finished is the primary.
There's an old Herschel Gordon Lewis film called Blood Feast.
Right.
Where one of the characters, I'm not sure if he's really doing this or if it's a weird tick, but he keeps looking at the palm of his hand.
Right.
Like before reciting lines.
So he might actually just have his lines on his hand.
What doesn't make sense is like, how did you get that much of the script on your hand?
Surely you haven't got that.
But maybe it's just like his thing. He just has to keep looking at his hand to do it. Whatever it is, he's a shit actor. You know? But it's wicked. And you can't stop watching it because of it.
Well, there's one, what film? I think it's Island of Dr. Moreau.
Right.
With the remake with Val Kilmer and Brando in, which is like the biggest car crash in history. But Brando like refused to learn his lines and just. But you can literally see him in every shot. You can see his eyes scanning the big board behind whoever's like. And it's great. There's something about it. Like the film's not shit because of it. Like it's what makes the film shit. But it's actually why it's so enjoyable to watch, because you can see the production falling apart in front of you.
And it's, a lot of people kind of look at that as like I hate fucking liking something ironically. Yeah. But I think you can like you say, you can watch something and there's actually something really watchable about a shambolic film production that's not just like, oh, it's so funny. Actually is really worth watching because of it. Yeah, and it's admirable. Like there's something about it's like a really brave thing to do, to just be like, it's not exactly finished or what we wanted, but it's going out because we've done it now. Have you ever seen a film called Q the Winged Serpent? No, I've had this recommended to me before. Oh my god! If you like that kind of thing, I can thoroughly recommend Q the Winged Serpent. Honestly, it's so what's his name? Larry Cohen, the directed it, and directed it. He was supposed to be making another film, and the funding fell through. So he was in New York, ready to start filming. Found out the funding wasn't going to happen, so he sat in his hotel room and wrote Q. Right. It was just like, well, we've got the crew together. Everyone's we've got people. We just, so he just wrote it around who he had. So kind of, and then went out and shot it. The Roger Corman style school of filmmaking. Just kind of like we got a set. Quick, someone write a film. We got 2 days to make it. So he went out. They had no permits, but he wrote. This is the thing. Roger Corman would write something like the original Little Shop of Horrors. He had a set. Yeah, and they had to film it overnight, and it was because just it was like quick. Being used on another film. It was like we've filmed something. We've got this set. We'll do it up like a flower shop. Somebody write a story quickly. They went in and shot this film about a guy who creates a man-eating plant.
That's right. Yeah. I've seen the Steve Martin one. I've not seen the Corman.
The original again,
the Corman original.
The original's it's notable just because it's got Jack Nicholson in one of his early roles.
That's right. He plays the dentist. Doesn't he?
No, he plays the
guy
patient,
in the chair. That's it. Yeah.
Who I think is Bill Murray in the remake, isn't it? So and it's he's totally, everyone's phoning it in. It's just like they've just read their lines and come out, and and he's everyone seems to be a little bit drunk. But they've got them in this space, and they're using the limitations of the space almost perfectly. Whereas Larry Cohen went, right, I've got all this cast, we're in New York, what am I going to do? I know, I write a film about a Aztec god flying lizard fucking dragon thing that lives in the roof of the Chrysler building. And we're going to have a whole police squad and a SWAT team.
What year is this?
It was about 1978, something like that. Michael Moriarty's in it. Michael Moriarty. Yeah, he's like he
was kicking about.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he was supposed to be in the other film, and
right.
and it's incredible because they're just like I say, there's kind of like we got to knock up this film really quickly. Michael Moriarty is a very good jazz pianist and scat singer.
Right.
So there's one scene where it's just like Michael Moriarty goes into a bar to audition.
Does some jazz.
Yeah, but because he's a bit of a mad bastard, he got up there and he just wrote this scat song where he's like going, "Go away, evil dreams," and all this. And the guy says, "Yeah," and he walks over and turns on the jukebox and puts on some like honky tonk blues or something. And he's like, "Yeah, that's great. And, but that's the thing. It's like he sat Larry Cohen is a genius or maybe just a complete fucking idiot because he went, right, we got some money, we've got this cast, let's make a film with a SWAT team at the top of the Chrysler building. The police were called on them because there's guys with machine guns. It's just fucking incredible. And it is that feeling of, is this really happening as you're watching the film? It's like, how did they get away with doing this? It's David Carradine, it's like, so you've got great people carrying it through.
Yeah, you've got some quality.
Yeah.
So do you try and work with limitations like that? Do you set themes?
I have to.
Yeah.
I haven't got any money, so and no one else has got any money for the sort of music I make. It's and so it is like when I approach stuff, like I do like to theme stuff, and I like to be a little bit conceptual without being too pretentious.
Yeah.
Kind of like I continued the Wrongtom Meets project with my mate Demas.
Yeah, that was in East London one.
Yeah, and then I followed it up with Ragga Twins, and I just continued to do that. Like the idea, I suddenly realised after doing the Roots Manuva one was, there's these artists who have reggae in their DNA, but they don't necessarily make what you'd recognise as reggae. To me, reggae is like a really loose umbrella term. Like I see UK garage as being very similar to Lovers Rock, for example. Kind of soul singers singing over bass heavy music, and like with the UK garage scene, a lot of the soulful stuff was really kind of like it was working class, it was kind of Caribbean British, black British music, and it had that kind of teenage singers with raw vocals, and so it was like reggae doesn't have to be reggae to me. Like when people just think of someone thinks of reggae as being like fucking Big Mountain, "Oh baby, I love your way" or something like that. But like people don't think further than Bob Marley.
Yeah, well, in like the grime as well. Like so much of the early Clash stuff, they all of those artists, their favourites are all the old Sting clashes of dancehall artists, and they've all got they all talk about a Sting tape that they saw. And it's so fed into every music and obviously dubstep is a really strange.
I mean, the dubstep was almost kind of like what I was saying. It was like people that weren't finding the reggae and the sound system element to straight up UK garage hits started fucking around and making it more dubby and making it more spacious.
And it was kind of used. Some stuff was used incorrectly, which is what made it so new and interesting. They've kind of misappropriated. Like they'd used it.
All of the greatest advances in music have happened like that. Someone just going, "Well, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing."
Yeah,
that's a good sound.
So do you ever just sit and be like, I need to, genre wise? Does it just because the Ragga Twins one, I listened to that most recently. It's kind of a dancehall. It's all that kind of DJ. Do you kind of pick an appropriate thing and then put put artists into it, or is it just whatever you're vibing with at the time?
Really, I just like old reggae tunes, you know, like whatever it is, from like old rocksteady to like 80s dancehall to modern stuff as well. But I just found I work better using old analog gear, and I've got quite old sensibilities. So yeah, so what I was saying, you know, I find artists that haven't strictly made reggae or straight up dancehall. You know, in the case of Demas, who was at the time more like not so much famous but infamous for being a jungle MC and a garage MC in the 90s and noughties, and getting him back to do some reggae tunes. With Ragga Twins, they actually were reggae artists in the 80s, and then they released their album in 1990, Reggae Owes Me Money, which kind of summed up the fact that they turned their back on their reggae roots. Just because it was like, you know, we've been doing this for fucking most of the decade.
I think at that point reggae owed everyone money.
Yeah.
Like everyone was getting ripped off by
still does.
someone.
But, you know, I was just like, fellas, do you fancy making a reggae record? But I think because of their vocals, it definitely had more of a dancehall element. You know, it was kind of like they've definitely got a style, like a specific style. Working with Demas, he's really versatile and goes across different styles, and he's a singer, you know, can do really fast chat stuff, can do dub poetry, whereas Ragga Twins, you know what you're getting. You know, they're like they get on the mic and it's straight into third gear, up to fourth, up to fifth, you know. And it was funny that I got D-Man to do a little bit of toasting, kind of U-Roy style, on one track, and I was listening to the album and I was just like, it's quite relentless. So I then split that into skits, and so it'd break up the album a little bit.
Right, okay.
So it had more of a kind of like an old school feel to it in some ways. But like, I mean, it sounds like I'm knocking them for this. It's fucking great to have like some guys that could just come in, get on the mic, and just go bam. You're like, fucking hell, I've been, you know, it's like a, I don't know, like a truck coming through and just. Yeah,
totally. Well, it's kind of like it's I suppose in grime, it's like people like Discarda in grime.
Yeah.
You don't go to him for a slow tune.
It's
just you just want to hear him shouting for 3.5 minutes. It's the same. Like they've totally got that. It's just the same. Artists like Blacks too. Like they just have that style that you want, and you don't mind. Like I love Flowdan. Yeah. But Flowdan doesn't really move out of the pocket of his delivery that much.
Did you hear the remix that I did of Flowdan?
Yes, I had.
Because that was when I heard that on the album. I was just like, that's quite mad, because he's kind of doing dub poetry. So I just went and made a kind of old Linton Kwesi Johnson style backing track, and
but that album's the first time I've really heard Flowdan
change it up a bit.
He's actively pushing away from that kind of and you know,
it's funny with grime artists that often happens, that when they get to do an album, because it's not really an album genre, is it?
No.
Same with reggae. Like, I mean, a lot of my favourite reggae albums are actually a comp of it's Dr. Alimentado, Best Dressed Chicken in Town. That's just like a comp of his sevens.
Yeah,
you know.
Right. I didn't know that. I didn't know
but it works perfectly as an album. Yeah. But actually, like, it's not. It's the best of, you know, effectively. And
it's I suppose it's the same with the versioning and the rhythm stuff. Like, it's like the format is like the same beat with 8 different artists on it. And it's like, to sit and listen to the same thing 8 times in a row is not. And a grime is the same, like, you know, a lot of it's built on clash and live energy. So to have an album of just someone sort of yelling abuse for 15 tracks, you kind of have to find a way to.
Or you've got to be a certain personality.
A few people can carry it.
Years ago, I was engineering a lot of different stuff, just like trying to find my feet as a producer, but also just trying to earn a couple of quid here and there. And I did loads of shit. I did like sort of like UK garage tunes. I did some early dubstep and stuff like that. But I knew this guy that made hard house, and at the time, I mean, I didn't really like house particularly. Hard house.
That's a niche one.
Oh, it didn't really. Wasn't for me. Lovely guy, but it wasn't for me. And after we did a couple of tunes, he invited me round his place for dinner. And I remember like me and my girlfriend sitting there, and he was listening to hard house in his, you know, like just we're having dinner, and it was still like boom, 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 boom. And I said to him, I was just like, have you got anything a little more kind of dinner friendly? And he pulled out Left Field's first album. He's like, oh, you like this? And I can't remember what's on that album, but you know, they were like downbeat tracks.
Yeah.
And any time a downbeat track would come on, he'd skip it. It's just, it was ridiculous. And that was it. You know, like that's what he liked. He just liked fucking high, hard energy. I actually like high energy tunes, like, you know, high energy, the genre.
Some of that. No, there's a big hard house scene where I'm from in Yarmouth.
Yeah.
There's an event called Pam's House. It's called Pam's House, and it's like the big calendar event for hard house. I think it's hard house.
Right.
But yeah, I went to one.
Was it shit? You know, if it's shit, it's almost definitely hard house.
It's just fucking insane. I went there and it was literally like listening to a large amount of people all simultaneously doing DIY, and it was just my mates.
That sounds like Gabba.
Yeah, it was kind of. I think there might have been some Gabba too.
Yeah.
It was like my mates are really into it, but it is all. They don't listen to anything else. It seems to be once you like that genre, everything else is off the table.
Well, you've gone deaf, probably.
Well, yeah, maybe it's like when you get onto really hard drugs. All the other ones are no good anymore.
Like people that like a fucking very, very hot curry. You know, people that get into foals.
You can never go back to a korma.
because you can't taste anything anymore. Like, you've lost your taste buds. So.
I wonder if Hard House is on. Yeah, I think it just kind of eliminates the rest of your spectrum of music.
Yeah, like if you maybe like music genres as curries, you know, Hard House and Gabbers. A foal.
That's your 5 chili rating.
Yeah, and then down, you know, like Korma's probably like Dido.
Yeah, or Joss Stone.
Yeah, Joss Stone maybe.
Radio 2. Yeah. Radio 2 territory. Which I found out is the biggest radio station in the world recently.
Really?
It's the most listened to station.
I did notice that I was looking recently, I decided to try and, as the Brexiters like to say, take back control of my career, because I don't really look at like stats or figures or anything like that. And
probably for the best.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It was like I decided that I would stare into the car wreck of my career. As you know, like every month, I'm just like, you know, I'm there basically like fucking mainlining Rescue Remedy. Like, I don't drink, so if I did drink, I would be a drunken mess most of the time because I make so little money. And like whenever rent time comes around, I'm just like, fuck, why haven't I got any money? Why isn't my stuff selling? And so as you know, I've signed up with, I've got into the analytics of Spotify and Bandcamp.
Claimed your artist account.
Yeah, I've got all that shit, and it's horrifying. No, Quite frankly, it's very sad.
As well with our artists, now that we've got access to it, I just look at it every day, wonder if anything shocking's happened. Oh no,
nothing.
Just another day of average streams. Nothing. But you have that weird. Spotify seems to be able to dangle that carrot of someone might find this and sign it for a film. Like, there's just it's funny how they've managed to kind of sow that dream into.
I mean, my publisher does that. Someone wants this, and I'm like, oh no, it turns out they don't actually. They heard it in full and thought it was crap. But I've had a couple of things licensed. You know, nothing massive. I got Jump and Move and Rock with Demas was in a computer game called. Oh Christ, I can't remember what it's called. It was like a snowboarding computer game.
Oh right.
And like suddenly I just looked and like my my Spotify numbers on that track had like gone up like 100,000 or something. And I was like, what happened there?
That's it. That's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's kind of the, like I was saying earlier about like looking at it as a new label just starting. The only way it realistically looks like you can make money now is to hand it off to a product or like get it in an ad or get it in a film, like actually selling your records.
Oh yeah,
it's almost become like a side hobby that's just a nice, you know.
That's your calling card.
I
make this. No one buys it. But please put it in your film.
It's all sat here. Please put it in a film.
And
it's odd how that. Well, it's not odd. It kind of makes perfect sense. People now have access to everything. And
don't feel like paying for it.
And just don't pay for it because they don't really need it.
I think it's, you know, entitled gets tossed around too much at the moment, but I do feel like it is true in a lot of cases that people kind of, because you have so much access to everything, people just feel entitled to it.
But there's also, in defence of the Ute,
I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about probably
just everyone.
Like 30s and 40s.
But I do it too, because like what I try and do is I listen to things on Spotify, and then if I really like them, I'll go and buy a copy of like an actual record. But I find now that there's just such a massive influx of data at all times. There's so many new things I've just listened to and gone, that's really good. Like,
which one do you buy?
Yeah, because you can't get them all, and then of course you just get so panicked with it. You're like, well, there's new stuff out now, so I'll just listen to that, and I'll come back to this next week. And like, every week now, I try and find like 3 records that are new out, and I just listen to them all week. Like I try and do it like it used to be when I could only buy a couple of CDs a week or a month. And but then I realised that just means no one makes any money because I can only stream 3 albums a week, and they're all worth 2p.
But you know, if you keep telling people about it, and maybe that artist will get a tune in. Yeah,
but that's it. Yeah, but it's interesting how much people don't realise artists and labels make from Spotify. Like when you speak to people that just use it as a casual punter.
Yeah.
Like I think because everyone in the industry is currently moaning about it on some level, I feel the public have a higher awareness of how shit the payment method is than actually is.
People, but do they care?
I think a lot of
most people don't. And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people, there's like a kind of an unsaid entitlement to, you know, like, well, you know, people, it's the same with films. You know, so many people I know now are just kind of like, I can't be bothered to go to the cinema. You know, I can just, this film's going to be on Now TV in a few months. I can
just sit here
watch it at home. And actually people aren't interested in like the experience of going out and being in a cinema or being out and like same with like going to gigs and all that.
And going shopping, buying.
Well, you know, people don't like talking to people.
Yeah,
and it's everyone fucking hates each other now, and I think we found that out with Brexit. We found out how many people actually do hate each other. We've literally got the figures. So we know who hates who in this country now. Is, you know, and I reckon on one side are people that go to the cinema, who buy vinyl, and then the other side you got the cunts.
You can kind of guess which way the votes slip. But it is awkward as well though, because then when you do, like, you know, we occasionally go to record fairs and do them, and they're good fun to do. But sometimes when you do see all of the kind of white hipster sort of middle tier people at them, it's like, oh fuck, these actually are really dull people.
Or even worse, these are my people.
Then you realise you're totally one of them.
And I'm a prick. Jesus, Mum, why didn't you tell me?
Am I worried about whether this is a first pressing or not? And you have to remind yourself, no, just buy the record that sounds good. The repress is fine. You don't need the original.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about any of that. I've always, because I've never really had a lot of money. You know, I'm not going to fucking claim poverty, but I've never had like a decent paying job or anything like that. when I was a teenager, I started getting into, like, you know, I use the term very loosely, but record collecting. You know, I bought vinyl from the age of about 10. You know, like fucking mid-80s. And I'd save up my pocket money and get tunes. And I very quickly realised that if you haven't got a lot of money and you want to listen to new music or new music to you or to me, I had to go to second-hand shops and charity shops. So I've been a big advocate of charity shops. My mum still, you know, 81, still wandering around charity shops, and like I call her up sometimes and she's like, oh, I'm in a charity shop right now and I just saw a Tribe Called Quest record, you know, have you got it, you know, and stuff like that. But you know, I'm still going to them and I'm still picking up stuff 50p a quid, unless like you're an Oxfam and they're trying to sell you like a Best of the Beatles for like 30 quid or something that's scratched.
Their pricing strategy's got very odd in Oxfam.
It's suspect. And a few, like there's a Scope in Walthamstow up the road from here where they had a Labby Sifri record for like 30 quid. The one with, I don't know if you know it, I can't remember the name of the album, but it's got, I got the Blues, which is the sample Eminem used for My Name Is.
Oh, okay, right.
And it's it's notable because it's got Chaz and Dave playing on it. Chaz and Dave were in Labby Sifri's band.
Really?
And they're both absolutely phenomenal musicians.
Good musicians. Yeah.
And they did some incredible like jazz and funk. I actually, just completely by the way, I was looking up some information about an old coffee shop in Soho in the 50s called the Two Eyes.
Right.
That was. I'm getting. I mean, there wasn't a topic anyway. We're getting very off topic now.
That's all right.
It was run by an Australian wrestler.
Right.
Who just basically decided to corner the market in cappuccinos in Soho in the 50s, and it became the kind of the birthplace of rock and roll in skiffle in Britain.
Right.
Where like Cliff Richard and various other people came through there when they were teenagers.
Right.
But I read today that he also set up the cruises across the Channel to France.
Well, like P&O or whatever?
Yeah, well, no, these rock and roll cruises.
Oh,
not
right,
P&O.
right.
So he got like it was a paddle steamer, and they'd have bands playing on the pedal steam. We started this in the 50s, and it went through to the early 60s. They had it was mad. They had James Brown played on it.
How do I not know about this?
I know about this place because my mum used to hang out there, and I was researching something that I write a bit as well, and it's kind of. I'm writing something that's sort of rock and roll and beatnik related and jazz related. We should explain. I'm writing a film. Right.
Cool.
But so I was just looking up some info on this, and this thing about the steam, the paddle steam cruiser. Is it paddle and steam? I don't know. Who cares? And they had who was it? Jerry Lee Lewis played on there. With a backing band that featured Chaz Hodges from Chaz and Dave and someone out of Deep Purple was in the band as well, and it was just like, what?
What year was this?
This was 1960, 1959 or something like that, maybe.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they were around from back in the day. So yeah, there they are on this Labby Sifri album. And I was just like, I wanted this album for ages, and I did think £30, it's quite hard to come by, but I would pay that for this album because it's got 2 particularly good tracks, including the Eminem sample one. And I opened it up, and it just had this massive gash across it.
Yeah, just beaten to shit.
And I took it over to the guy, and I was just like, it was just one side was playable, and actually the side that I wanted.
Yeah.
I think, and I took it to the guy, and I was just like, £30 for this. Look at this.
Yeah.
And he was like, I've looked it up in the book. And he was just adamant. Yeah, like he still
the
had
process were probably out of date anyway.
He hadn't even used Google. He was like, looked it up in the book, and
so it was valued in the 80s.
Yeah, and I was just, I tried to knock him down, and I feel awful because it's for charity, but I'm just like, come on, man.
There's a line though. There's a line of good conduct on both sides.
Yeah, but I knew a guy that actually used to price stuff up for Oxfam back in the 90s, and he was a massive reggae collector.
Right.
And so, of course, you never got it was around kind of. I knew him I was living in Kingston, so around Kingston upon Thames.
Yeah.
Rather than Jamaica, they don't know Oxfam in Jamaica. But I knew him around there, and he did that kind of that whole area and around southwest London into Surrey and all that. So if you look for reggae tunes around there, he had them all.
Yeah, he had first dibs on everything.
That was it, and it was kind of so he'd mark up the prices and all the other stuff, and then get the reggae really, really cheap, and have this amazing collection. It was just like, you scumbag.
Yeah, it's pretty low for a charity, especially. The money literally goes to charity. Surely the one time you need to just do the decent thing. But it's a weird. I wonder in 20 years' time whether you can even charity shop shopping for records. It might just be the same catalogue still rolling around, like James Last records.
All of the James Last albums can still be in there because no one wants them.
I'm at the point I was surely by now I should be getting to the point where when I go into charity shops, there might be people my age buying not people my age buying houses, probably a bit older, or people more successful than me my age.
If it's in London, it will be Russian oligarchs.
And organised crime.
Who might be your age, who knows? But
But it's when do I start seeing those rare dubstep records that someone's mum has just dumped them all down a charity shop?
I've noticed
currently where I am, there's been the trickle down economy's not started to work yet.
I've noticed in Walthamstow particularly, there's a Salvation Army that still does really cheap vinyl. You go in and it's albums for 50p, 7s for 10p or whatever, and you do find late 90s stuff, a lot of New School Breaks, Big Beat and shit like that. That's to me. That's that's,
so you're getting there.
That's a modern day version of finding James Last albums in the the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
We're now finding the late 90s to early noughties.
I'd love to find that Chaz and Dave played on some Big Beat. One of the road credits. We did a bit of high energy, did a few hard house tunes.
They did.
I'm
making it out, but they did.
This is a terrible story, but I will tell it because it's secretly quite funny. We went to a festival in the middle of nowhere in a place called Bungay in Suffolk, and the headliners were Chaz and Dave. This is I must have been about 2007, 2008, I think. And they had to cancel at the last minute because Chaz's wife
had just died.
Or was very ill.
That wasn't even that long ago. It was sometime in the last.
It was within a decade. Of my hazy memory. But I was smashed out my face on cider. But I just said offhand to my friend who was stood next to me as a joke. They was like, oh yeah, like we just went because it was just locally, you know, just go potter about.
Yeah, and Chaz and Dave's playing.
And my mate was like, oh no, Chaz and Dave have cancelled. Like I came all this way, sort of thing. And then someone went, yeah, no, his wife's died. And I just off the cuff as a joke just went, yeah, apparently Dave killed her, like as a joke. And then about an hour later, a random person came up to me and went, apparently Dave has killed Chaz as well. And this rumour had spread around this festival. And I was like, shit, I only said it I just said it to my mate.
That's amazing.
But yeah, within an hour, someone had reported back to us that it was a real thing that definitely.
Oh my God, I'm going to go to Suffolk and make some shit.
Yeah,
up.
I mean, yeah, totally.
That's
just,
like, if you're going to lie, that's the place to do it.
Yeah, if you're going to go to.
What's the town called?
So that was in Bungay. That was out near Bungay. Yeah.
Bungay, Suffolk. I'm going to go to Suffolk, pop into a pub.
In inappropriate dancehall fashion is spelt Bungay. So you can get a Sizzler reference in there.
Yeah, definitely.
If you need one. But yeah, that's a strange little town. It's quite nice. Got a nice swimming pool.
Yeah.
There's not much else there. There's a really expensive pub called The Fleece, which I think is really good. All the pubs are really cheap, and the really expensive one's called The Fleece.
Fantastic.
And I was like, you know what you were doing when you moved in. Down from London, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dave killed Chaz's wife.
Yeah, I can't believe he did that.
I know, it's low, right?
Yeah.
They felt like there was some money owed over a Gabba record. There was some royalty disputes.
Definitely unpaid royalties and a bit of Gabba and a bit of Big Beat.
Have you ever dabbled in the Big Beat?
Well, my career sort of...
Your backroom production on some hard house?
No, my Big Beat career... Sorry, my career started via Big Beat.
Did it?
Yeah.
Right.
It did. I technically didn't really make any Big Beat. I years ago, when I was in this sort of jazz funk band called Three Bean Salad in the mid-90s.
Good name.
Terrible name.
Rate it.
Yeah. I joined after they were named. Like they did, they decided to buck the trend of opening a dictionary and finding some words, and instead they opened a cookbook and used those.
That was never going to end too well.
No, never. You know, but so there we were in this kind of arse end of acid jazz funk band called Three Bean Salad, and. Why am I telling this? I've totally forgotten already.
It's all about Big Beat.
Big Beat, yeah. So we used to rehearse in this studio down in Hampton in southwest London, like on the Thames. There was this studio on a little island on the Thames called Platts 8, and it stank, like probably like smelt of rats, and it was actually called Water Rats, and it stank of river water, and probably had rats living in there. It was absolutely, it was dank, it was disgusting.
Named for purpose.
Yeah. And there was a guy called Mark Pember that used to work there, and he was the guy that you bought pot noodles off, and when you're having a little break, made cups of tea and gave us pot noodles, and I got chatting with him, and it turned out that he made tunes, and he'd just signed to Wall of Sound
at
the time, and he was in a group called Ceasefire, who did a tune called Trick Shot.
That rings a bell.
End of 95 this was, and so it's got a sample from Carlito's Way.
Yes, which, I think I do know it.
I think it was because Wall of Sound really like made their name off the back of what are they called? Not the Wise Guys were on them. There was another group, the Propellerheads.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Because they did that Shirley Bassey.
Yeah, and they did that. Well, the one that the Matrix made. Infamous.
Yeah.
That was like they became like a bit of a hot ticket.
Yeah, and that's it. So like they carved their niche via the Propellerheads, but prior to that, their best-selling record was Trick Shot, and he was just making it or just about to release it around the time I met him. And he actually, when he heard that I was a percussionist, he was kind of like, oh, we might need a percussionist to play for us. And he asked me to do it was a TV show on a channel called Live TV,
right?
Which was run out of Canary Wharf. The big building with the pyramid on top. That was the only building in Canary Wharf at the time. Yeah, because
that would have been pre-developed.
Yeah, well, it was just as it was starting to be developed. Yeah. That was the first one that went up, like early 90s. So this was mid-90s. That was like still the one building that was there. And I think 2 floors of it are owned by Live TV.
Right.
And I can't remember. I know Murdoch bought it. I think prior to that, someone else had it, and they ran out of money. But they had this show called The Buzz, and it was like like youth TV or whatever. And they used to have people come on there, and it was always Big Beat. And
Right.
so he was supposed to perform Trick Shot on there, and he wanted me to come up and be the the miming percussionist on it and all that. And just at the last minute, they got a call, and for some reason, no one had actually listened to it and realised it had the sample from Carlito's Way and some I think it has them going, "Are you ready? Here comes the fucking pain."
Yeah.
And they didn't realise, and they couldn't bleep it in time or whatever, and I don't know, got some other big beat artist in instead. It was weird. It was always big beat. I guess there was someone that was just a big beat fan.
That's probably just a commissioner that only listened to one type of music.
But from there, like, me and him stayed friends, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he was like, that was my first, like, that was my intro into the music business, I guess. Kind of like knowing him, met a few people around him. We used to go to a lot of parties and I remember I went to Reading the following, I think it might have been that year or the following year, when he was DJing, and like it was my first experience of like blagging it in backstage. We didn't have tickets. It was amazing how easy it was to get in. You could just tell everyone on every gate and every security guard that you spoke to, just say, "Oh, I've got a artist ticket that I've got to get."
From gate
and
X down there.
You could get all the way to VIP, and then what would happen is they'd just go in and find someone that was leaving, and I got like the keyboardist out of Spaced. Was it a Space? Not Space, it was a TV show. Was it Space? Did the female of the species, that band. Yeah, like it was the keyboardist from Space gave me his VIP pass, and it was like, I'm in. And
jobs again.
Yeah, and it was just, and you could just sort of blag your way, and it was like my intro to the world of blagging.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I've continued to be in the music industry, just blagging as much as I can, because I haven't got any cash.
It just works that, but like so many people as well who people I've worked with and stuff. That's that's a more useful skill than like half of the formal skills that you're told you need for this shit.
I mean, that's bullshitting. Lying to security guards. And
getting into festivals become a lot harder. I think it used to be people no one gave a shit on the gates either.
Yeah.
Like even 10 years ago when I first started doing exactly the same sort of things.
Yeah. I mean, like, even if they did, you could always like wait a little while and come back and maybe someone else that did, or just go. Like Glastonbury was great because you could just fucking wander around the perimeter and find a way in. There'd always be like a scouser with a rope ladder, that just wanted like a fiver or like something to. I'm generalising, but something to buy some smack with. I was at Glastonbury one year, and I'd been up for like 2 days solid. And I was sitting in. My mate runs a tent called the Small World Stage,
right?
And it's like it's got a cafe in it and all that, and it's up in the Greenfields. He does it at a lot of festivals, and he was kind of like, we'd go with no tent or anything, and he'd just be like, if you work on the bar for a bit and serve some teas and coffees, you can sleep in the kitchen area of our tent. So there I was, like, sun's coming up. We'd been up for 2 days, completely wired, and I'd made myself a hot chocolate, and I was sitting in his tent, and these Scousers came in, and I mean, I'm probably offending all Scousers anyway by saying this, so I'm not going to offend anyone by trying to do the accent, but this guy comes in, and and he just sits down with us, and he's chatting away, and I'm there drinking my hot chocolate and put the spoon down, and he wanted to know if we wanted to go and see the Pet Shop Boys with him. And I was just like, no, I actually like the Pet Shop Boys, but I didn't want to go and see them with this guy. And he was like, why don't you want to go and see the Pet Shop Boys with me? And I was just like, I don't like him. And he was just like, you fucking queer. And I was like, hang on, I'm a fucking queer for not wanting to see the Pet Shop Boys.
There's a lot of contradictions.
Yeah, and it's just like this made no sense, particularly when you're completely delirious.
Yeah.
And you're faced with this like homophobic guy. And then he looked down at the table and saw the spoon that I'd been stirring my hot chocolate with, and the chocolate was kind of like solidifying on the spoon. Right. And he turned to his mate, who'd just been really quiet the whole time, and he was like, "Look at that!" And his mate was like, "You dirty fucking smackhead." And he thought I'd been cooking up smack. So it was like actually back in the trend. They really liked Pet Shop Boys, but they didn't like gays. But they also didn't like heroin. They'd obviously been around a lot of heroin abusers, so they weren't into that. But they did want to see probably one of Britain's most famous gay acts, but didn't like their sexuality or just didn't know.
Well, that's the magic of music.
Yeah,
It can break down borders.
Yeah. and build them up at the same time.
Simultaneously build entirely new ones.
Yeah, but that's that's the Glastonbury that I love.
I've never made it to Glastonbury. It's one of the only festivals I've not managed to get to yet. But I don't know if I can be asked.
It's different. I mean,
I look at it and I just think, I can't be fucking bothered with it. Like 500 to 1,000 people. I'm all right with. I don't think I can be bothered traipsing across the whole of Glastonbury.
Well, it's a town. It's especially if it's muddy, because then you're like, you get one field and you're like, fucking, I just want to sit down, and I can't.
I think it looks like a better concept than it would be to actually have to put up with.
If it's hot, it's amazing, and it is mad that you can just wander around. I don't like festival terms like bimbling and stuff like that that a lot of people seem to use, and they only use it at festivals as well.
But it's the same with I've become, maybe it's because we film them most summers, but I've become slightly cynical toward the festival marketplace.
Festival types,
because
top hats and
because I'm not. Are you gonna wear those mad kooky clothes in it? No, you're not. And part of me's like, well, it's nice because you can go and have your weekend, but then part of me's like, this is fake. This is a total. You're pretending you're living a life you don't live.
There's a lot of Etonians that might go on to run the country.
Bimbling around in top hats.
Bimbling around with putting MDMA up each other's bum holes
and hedge fund managers that spend they spend 30 grand on like a Volkswagen camper, and then it just goes to that one festival, then rusts in a fucking garden for like 30 years, and it's just like, leave it. But the crusties, fire jugglers.
Yeah, I don't even feel like it's that crusty anymore. No,
crusties can actually afford to go now.
Well, they can't get in because they're like me. They used to bunk it over the fence.
Yeah.
One year, I just wandered around the perimeter and found a gap under the fence.
Well, there was a year like a network of tunnels was found, like proper Great Escape style tunnels that had been shored up.
Was it Elon Musk had been there? He likes a tunnel, doesn't he?
Loves getting involved in a tunnel construction project. But some of them, I remember someone telling me a story about some people took in a sofa and they'd hollowed out the sofa and had like 3 of their mates in it. And they'd like brought it in a van, because it was like they were like, the band need it for the green room or whatever, and they'd literally just filled it with people. And apparently they just took it out the back of a van. I can't remember who was telling me that. And security just walked past as all these people climbed out of the sofa.
I probably thought it was an act.
Yeah,
it was happening.
At Glastonbury, it's just circus experience or something.
Well, they got top hats on. And
they've all got top hats on.
They're meant to be here. It's fine.
They're like Bretonians or performers. We don't know. But they're probably supposed to be here somewhere.
They'd hand them a hot chocolate and a bag of smack. And best
and
of Pet Shop Boys.
Want to go see the Pet Shop Boys.
I wish I'd gone to see the Pet Shop Boys that year. In fact, I love the Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah, maybe I don't know though. It seems like it could have gone badly wrong if you'd have gone with the guys that invited you. I like that they invited you as well and then instantly turned on you. Yeah. It wasn't even like, oh, come on. It's like, no, fuck you then.
It's like, well, or not fuck you because they...
Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, the festival world is again, it seems to be, I don't know.
It's a confusing and dangerous place.
I don't know if I've just become a cynic, but that's another thing that...
No, I feel that way.
I feel people talk up the magic of them more than it actually has any magic anymore.
Mate, I went
that could just be my age.
I love Boomtown and I love what it is.
I've never done Boomtown actually.
It's mental. I mean, it's kind of... I don't know what you call it.
That must
really
be, in terms of your bookings, that must be like Venn diagram.
That's
probably pretty bang in the middle, but a Boomtown booking.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of helps the captain that does the Boomtown bookings is a mate of mine as well.
Yeah, that's always useful to...
He'd actually booked me before we met. I met him, he'd booked me to do a set with Ragga Twins before we'd even rehearsed it.
Right.
We're doing it a full live band. It was like a 9-piece live show. And he booked me on the strength of like, oh, you're doing that? Come down and do it. And I was just like, really? And then it transpired we were doing another festival together down in Cornwall.
Right.
And he needed to get down there, and the promoter gave me a shout. Josh Stone's ex-boyfriend, in fact.
We planned this.
Yeah, and he just said, "Could you pick up Captain on the way?" So he was in Dalston. Right. Got in my car, and I was like, "I don't know this guy from Adam. He's been foolish enough to book me."
You're probably doing him a favour.
Yeah. But like, you know, I was just like, what kind of a mental case is he that like he's giving me probably far too much money for what I'm offering here? And but so I was just like, it's cool, you know, it's like a few hours down to Cornwall. It turned out to be about 8 hours down to Cornwall because we hit traffic getting out of London. It took us like 3 hours to get out of London. But actually, by the end of the trip, we were thick as thieves. It was amazing. It was so yeah, we're good mates, and it's like he doesn't, you know, like. I'm making this sound like I get booked on the strength of like he's like he actually like sometimes hasn't booked me since then. So actually maybe he's not my mate. Captain, if you're listening, you're a cunt. No, he's not. He's lovely. And so this year I did it, and I had 4 sets in the space of one day, and I think he actually. Because I got booked to do a Tru Thoughts thing, where we did a stage takeover, and I was doing like different sets between the different live acts.
Right.
And he'd booked me to do another set of like, it was a 40th anniversary two-tone tribute set.
Nice.
And so, you know, Tru Thoughts didn't know I was doing that. He didn't realise the Tru Thoughts thing. So when he realised that, and he knows how I feel about camping and festivals now, he actually put me on the same day. So I did it all, like 4 sets in one day. And actually, it was probably a mistake. But I booked, and the last set was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
After like getting there at 3 p.m. or something. And I was sort of delirious by the end of it, but like part of the way through the, like after my first 3 sets, I thought, right, I'm going to pop back. I've got a hotel room, so as I said, I hate camping.
Oh, you only camping?
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing that I hate about festivals, camping. First time, like I went to Glastonbury in, actually, was that the last time I went there? No, I don't know. But anyway, I was in Glastonbury in 2005, I think, and I went with the indie band Hardfire that I was working with at the time.
Oh right.
Just slept on their, I slept on their on their tour bus.
Right.
And then got up and was just, you know, got up fresh as a daisy, put on my wellies and like went out in the stinky mud, and everybody was like completely wrecked, and we were just like, yeah, you know, this is great. And I said to myself, that's how I want to do it. Yeah, and I've never been on a tour bus at a festival since, which is actually kind of sad.
Were you producing for Hardfire?
Yeah, a little bit.
Seems like a niche pairing.
Yeah, well, they were. I've gone totally off topic again, but it doesn't matter. With Hardfire, I was mates with the singer Rich when he was in his previous band Contempo, who were kind of like Hardfire but more soul-y, more kind of sort of a touch of synth pop and a touch of northern soul. They had a brass section, and he used to sing. He's actually got a really good falsetto voice, Rich, and he used to sing a lot of their stuff falsetto, and it was kind of like that white boy soul. It harked back to like Style Council and stuff like that. Mick Jones produced the album. Oh wow. Or semi-produced it. I think he was on drugs for a lot of it. And then the album, and you know the classic. And the album didn't come out in the end. I can't remember what happened, but I think actually they came up at the time when UK Garage and all that exploded. So it was like end of the 90s, and A&R's changed. You know how it is.
It was just a kind of watershed moment. Yeah, the genres just shifted. And
this happens a lot in big business of music. You know, it's you think it's bad for bands. Actually, for A&R men, they're all just absolutely fucking terrified all the time, more so than ever. But they're all just desperately trying to hang on to their jobs. And when a new thing comes out, you probably aren't going to be able to get on it because you're known as, oh, you're the indie guy that signed these people. You know, and it's very hard for people to transcend like different genres and all that. And I guess UK Garage hit. They were signed to London, and suddenly like London had this like dance renaissance because London Records came up in the late 80s. They were kind of involved in like the sort of acid house scene and all that, and had a lot of tunes like that. And I think Paul Oakenfold was involved in a lot of shit that was going on there maybe. But yeah, so UK Garage blew up. Their A&R man maybe lost his job or something, I'm not sure, but so they like as happens with a lot of people, you find that like when the person that was gunning for you is gone, the label are just like, what do we do with these people now? And they've got like this fucking 10-piece like Style Council-esque like horn section led fucking
it's no cheap to run.
And people are just like, what do we do with these, you know, until they're gradually just ousted. So then he was kind of down his luck, and we were mates. I was living in Kingston, he was just down the road, and we used to meet up down the local pub, and he was trying to get something new off the ground, and he knew that I was like sort of teaching myself to produce. I'd recently just bought my first setup, like Akai sampler, little mixing desk. Actually, no, I bought a 32 track mixing desk. So I was really like, I'm going to do this properly.
Yeah, I'm doing this.
I worked in a second-hand electrical place that had loads of stuff coming through, and I got loads of analog synths and stuff like that.
Right.
So I've always liked kind of like old instrumentation, and I was teaching myself to play a bit of bass and all that kind of thing. And so we just, we were doing stuff at the same time. He was like, he'd been to uni and studied music and knew actually could read music.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm like 2-finger style, like trying to play the keyboard. And as he started to work out what he was doing after the demise of Contempo, he started to put together Hardfi, and he got through my mate who played drums, my friend Steve Kemp. I'd really talked him up, and he was just like, let's get Steve on drums then, and then the band slowly gathered around that, and he found a couple more people. And so when they signed, he was kind of, because I'd been doing bits and bobs and remixed a couple of his tracks just because I was trying to learn what to do, he was kind enough to keep me on board. And I became the in-house remixer for the band.
Oh, nice.
And it's funny because a lot of people scoff at it and they're like, oh, hard-fi, or indie pop, all that sort of shit. And it's like, admittedly, it's not exactly my bag.
Yeah.
But I like the fact there was a kind of soul element when you had people like Kaiser Chiefs and all these other bands that were very much like rooted in indie and in rock.
Yeah.
Their roots were more in soul and stuff like that, but they were taking it to an indie audience.
Yeah,
and I could, I got that
there was
straight
more
away.
Of a hook for you to work.
Yeah, there was like a dancey element and all that, but that was great. And the other thing was they were just kind of like, we want you to do this, so we have like a more underground element to it. And so I was just doing actually the first, prior to Duppy Writer, the stuff where I started the Wrongtom Meets project was really with Hardfi.
Yeah, right.
When I did some like dub versions of their tunes.
Because I remember them always kind of. I was never like that. The whole indie scene, like when that was charting, and like Kaiser Chiefs were like the biggest booking act in the UK.
Yeah,
stupid.
Probably turning it over to something else.
I was never really involved in that scene. But at uni, obviously, all that got fucking played. But like Hardfi were always on the fringe. They always seemed like slightly more, kind of like Friendly Fires had a similar thing where they had a slightly credible trace of like dance stuff in it, whereas the others...
I think Friendly Fire's probably a bit more credible, and
they were a bit later as well.
Yeah,
by that point, the dance had kind of swung back around anyway, so they were.
Yeah, well, the DFA thing was a big turning point for a lot of that stuff with like LCD Sound System and the Rapture. And all that, and I think actually at one point Rich was talking about how like we should get some other artists and try and do like a Stains answer to the DFA. And it transpired that no, we didn't do that. And actually I mean I only visited Stains like twice the whole time we were doing it, which is funny. They always talk about them as a Stains band. And Rich did move back to Stains where he's from when he was doing it.
Right.
But actually Steve, the drummer, who's like one of my closest friends, he's from Morecambe.
Right.
I met him at uni.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Stains thing actually
but that was
kind of a myth.
That was branded. That was kind of a brand thing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's amazing. Like a lot of people will, people will be listening and going like, yeah, of course we know this shit's a myth. But a lot of people, I'm surprised at how many people don't. And like one of them that really surprised me was a journalist called Mark Beaumont.
Right.
Who he's like an NME journalist and massive like indie hack. And to the extent that last time I saw him, I was like, "What are you up to now?" And he said, "I'm writing a book on Jay-Z." And I was like, "Are you a Jay-Z fan?" And I'm pretty sure he said, "Not really." But he came out with us to Ibiza. Like we were staying in Channel 4's villa that they have in Ibiza, and we played the M Bar, like, owned by Manumission, which is great. Like it's an open air bar with a Nando's in it. And the Nando's backs onto the beach, so you can have a Nando's on the beach, free of charge because you're playing there, and that was awesome because I did a set of I did like a Balearic set, like a classic old 80s like slow-mo house, Balearic set. Most of the indie fans, generally when I played out of Hardfire, most people there were like, either why aren't you playing indie pop?
Yeah.
Or just like, what is this? But you know, a few people would like it, and that was cool. But I just got paid an all right amount to enjoy myself, which was fucking great.
Yeah. Why the fuck?
But yeah, so Mark Beaumont came out of us to like cover it for the NME. And I remember one night when he was off the clock, we were like having a chat in some like, you know, Cafe Del Mar type place, possibly even that place. I don't know. Like, and he started talking about Kate Nash.
Yeah.
And who was there was like there was that scene, wasn't there? The Thames Estuary scene with Jamie T.
Yeah, that kind of
like,
troubadour.
Yeah, troubadour
like,
with a little bit
edgy,
of a bit of a Cockney bent.
Yeah.
There was one singer, Jack Pignate.
Yeah.
So like Jack Pignate and Kate Nash used to tour a bit together at the time.
Right.
And there's Mark Beaumont telling me, he was like, yeah, and you know, I interviewed them and they were telling me about how it was really funny because when they were growing up, Jack Pignate was like a posh boy and Kate Nash was like a street hoodlum, and she was the sort of person that would have like bullied him and beat him up when he was growing up. And I was just like, I thought you were the people that made this shit up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, mate, do you seriously believe that? I was like, Kate Nash was a street urchin, as my mum would have said.
Well,
like,
stranger things have happened. Dave killed Chaz's wife.
Well, yeah, I mean that's. They were street urchins. They had a tough upbringing. Those two.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I think that all feeds the myth stuff. Is now, because so many bands back in the day genuinely did come up through like Noddy Holder's
did kill
upbringing.
their mates' wives.
Noddy Holder's upbringing is one of the strangest stories in rock. Like some of the shit he talks about, and Lemmy as well.
Yeah.
But like after that era, I think as well because the music was so like a lot of those indie bands were trying to find things to give them an identity.
Yeah.
Because really the music...
Because they didn't have one.
The music just sounded like the Strokes.
Yeah.
Or a modification thereof.
Yeah.
So it was like you were saying about Hardfire and the Stains thing, it was like...
You need a story.
To hang your hat on.
I mean, a lot of people have come to me, like, I guess, like, with the reggae thing, I'm sort of successful. Yeah. You know, I've got, like, press inches off the back of it, and there's been a lot of people that have actually just said, you know, like how do you get the attention of people? And it's like, I think one of the things that I've got is like there's a bit of a story there, you know, and it's like there's like I said before, there's a bit of a theme to what I do, and there's an angle. It's not just like I'm just making some dancehall and I got some people to do vocals on it.
It's not it's not anonymously.
And it's sometimes I feel bad about that. They're like, you have, you know, like it has to be a theme rather than like, it's not just as simple as honest as I like this music. And actually it's true. I like the music that I make because I like that music, you know. And the other thing is, it's like I loved the Ragga Twins growing up and I really wanted to get them on there. But to get the attention of the press and get the attention of people that aren't ingrained in this, and that's the thing, if you want to sell records, you got to get people that don't necessarily the people that aren't necessarily as into things. That's like, if you want to be really successful, you've got to make music for people that aren't into stuff,
aren't bothered. You need to convince them how interesting it is, because they're not actually that interested.
And if you want to make loads of money, you actually have to make music that you're not interested in, that other people aren't interested in,
essentially.
Like, so they can buy something that they're not interested in and not play it. And that's why I want to kill myself. So anyway,
when are we going to get Wrongtom meets Super Heavy? I'm
getting straight on the phone. Where's my phone? I'm calling up now. I'm calling Mick's busy at the moment, I think, but I'll get him on the phone.
He's probably not.
he's I don't know. He's like, God knows what he's up to. He's probably in Whitstable right now, eating oysters and waiting for Horace Andy to come back
for a gig.
Yeah,
they might be playing a producer.
He's doing his reggae gig down there.
So what is next? Have you got plans?
I'm working
this film, which sounds
I've been dabbling in script writing for a little while. It's more like when I've got time, which isn't a lot at the moment. But when I got some downtime, normally when I should be trying to get some sleep, I suddenly like switch on my phone and start researching shit, or like I've got 3 different bits of film scripts in my notes on an iPhone.
Nice.
You know, that need like transferring. My phone will probably die and I've lost everything. But yeah, so I'm doing bits and bobs of that. I mean, I've no idea if anything can come from that. You know, I before I was a musician, I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Right.
And I think as this has gone on and the less money I've made in the music business, I've just thought, I don't want to do this. And for some reason I thought, I've got no ties to the film industry. Let's try and do this and make even less money. But I just had that feeling of like, I want to do it before I can't, before there's no time left, and maybe I'm just making it for me. Maybe it will come from come to something, but I need to do it to be able to say that I did it.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you got it done either way. You can say
but aside that, I'm writing one more album for Tru Thoughts. I mean, I won't say that I'm leaving Tru Thoughts. I'm just like I've got one more in my contract. So I've got the third one for them. I've got a load of remixes on the go as usual. They're sort of like you were asking earlier if like that's how I like to work, and it's funny that I was remixing for a long time and it just seemed to be my main thing, partly just because it's like if you can get a paying gig, you get money. Like
pretty regular work too.
Yeah, it wasn't not as regular as I'd like it to be, but like if you get a good one, if you get a couple from a major, you can like pay the rent for like a couple of months, and all that, and so it's kind of like that's actually my bread and butter and DJing. Yeah. And I like it. I mean, if more of them paid, I could actually buy a house. Like I was looking back, I worked out this year that I've done over 250 remixes. Like in the last
this year?
I was going to
say, fucking hell, I've been busy.
I'd say my career started very small in 1999, so it's been 20 years, and in that time I've probably done about 250 remixes, and like. Not all of them. Most of them haven't paid much. Some of them haven't paid at all, but some of them have been all right. Sort of like $1,000 or whatever, and and that's cool. And so it's like, but if someone comes to me and says, this we got like £300 budget. Can you do it? And I'm just like, if I can fit it in, because I need to pay my bills. But it's actually the process of it is great because you've got a song to work from, and I like to sit there and strip everything back and basically rebuild a new backing track. So when I go to write stuff, it's really hard because I haven't got that, and it's like I just have to imagine what it might be. So I'm just writing backing tracks for other people to then come in and do their vocals for it. And it was funny when I did Duppy Writer, the original idea was to do a load of remixes and then do like sort of 3 or so original tracks. And I did some beats for it, and I was like, these are shit. And I sent them over to Rodney, and he only liked one of them, And then they recorded a demo vocal for that, and then he lost it. And it was like, so in the end there was one original track on there.
Is that Jar Warriors?
Jar Warriors, which he'd already demoed. So I actually, again, it was kind of like approaching it as a remix. I then built a backing track and we went back and re-recorded it. But yeah, it was a shame. We should have done more, but it was, I guess I was kind of daunted working with him.
Yeah, right.
So we only went in, I went around his house. So he was living up the road. We'd done the whole thing for about a year. Messages had been passed. Like I'd email Big Dada, and they'd email him, then he'd email them back, and I was getting these kind of relay messages. And then one day I just got an email from him saying, I'm going to come over. Like if that's cool, come over and meet you and have a chat. And he was like, where are you? And it turned out he was living like 10 minutes up the road from me. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, this has been going for a year.
Yeah, could have made so much too.
Yeah, and it's a shame because we could have probably done something like more original on there, but it worked out. I think it was all right.
I mean, it's a great record. I still go back to it. Worth a bit on vinyl now too.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons was they did a repress, and then during the riots in 2011. The warehouse that Ninja had loads of stuff stocked in burnt down.
Really?
Yeah, it was out past like Edmonton way, that sort of way, and they lost a lot of stock, and I think Duppy Writer went up.
So they just that's why there's not as many copies.
So vinyl, because I think they did like 1,000 or 2,000, and they did another run of 1,000, and that bunch burned up.
Went. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, a copy made it out to a record shop in Norwich.
the Lowestoft, yeah.
No, it was in there's no record shops in Lowestoft. I had to go Norwich.
Yeah, Norwich is good for record shops.
I had to go up market. It's good for second-hand ones. There's Sound Crash is the only one that stocks new stuff, and they do a lot of reggae. They're big on reggae and dub and stuff. But
I haven't been to Norwich for a while. The last time I went there, I made the mistake of we went down there on a Saturday afternoon, and we just thought, oh, we'll wait till tomorrow to go to the shops.
Oh.
And then I remembered, we're kind of spoilt in London. I remembered you leave London, Sundays are still the 1980s.
You can realistically not be able to buy anything on a Sunday.
There was nothing open, and we went to a restaurant on the Saturday night. They were like, oh, this looks nice, and then we went looking for somewhere to go for food on the Sunday, and it was that restaurant again or Pizza Express.
Yeah,
it was like, okay, so we went back there.
That's basically Norwich. Yeah, it's better than it was. It's got a bit more upmarket now.
Yeah,
but there's still musically, there's not a great deal going on.
Right.
It's kind of just student like I think Zinc played this weekend.
Right.
But it's like I get the feeling whatever they booked would just sell. Because there's not that many venues. No,
I mean, I've played there and had a really good crowd, and I don't think that's because
Norfolk's got a really big jungle heritage, like dub and jungle, and there's like some sound systems locally. And Jay Kenzo was telling me that Yarmouth used to be a bit of a hub for jungle raves, back in the and all the seaside towns they're kind of out the way. Yeah. Free parties and stuff. But so it has got a really good sort of heritage of dub and reggae and stuff in Norwich. It just is just doing its things, ticking over.
Yeah.
But
I like it, man. It's a nice town. It's just I forget being in my fucking London bubble. I just forget that nothing's open. Outside of the country. Yeah,
but I forget when I come here now. Like I've been gone for so long, I just forget how
you can do stuff.
Yeah, I sort of, as much as I don't really like the culture of London and the lifestyle, but then it's also like I can just pay on card for things. Whereas I do realistically have to go, I have to work out if I need to go to a cash point before I go to a specific pub.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice in that way, just to be able to get stuff as and when you need it.
What's the currency in Lowestoft? Is it sales?
Just favours. Really.
Is it favours?
But fists. Polished stones, anything really that catches the eye when sunlight bounces off it can be traded or bartered.
A town of magpies.
We'll have to get you booked for a gig in Lowie.
Oh yeah, is there a venue?
Yeah. There's one called Notley's.
Nice.
It's shit. I was in there at...
sounds like my kind of place.
I was in there at 11 a.m. So it's £1.50 a pint from 11 till 11:30 in the morning. And I went in there Thursday morning, so I had a day off. I thought I had a day off. I thought, I'll get in Notley's in the morning. It's always colourful in there, of an 11 a.m. opening. And so the guy was chatting to me, and he bought a tenner's worth of booze at 11 a.m. So it cost him $1.50 a pint. He just racked it for the day, and they were all right with that. And then this guy came in reeking of crack, actual crack. He stunk like he'd been smoking crack all night. And he sat next to me, and his head was tilted back, and he was just profusely sweating. And
that crack will do it to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then he started doing this, and I got up, and I was like, I'm going to move because he's about to burst. And he exploded with vomit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Everywhere, all over the table, all in everyone's pints, all on the people sat next to... And it was this about 11 at this point. I'm one pint deep, but I've paid for two. And then I got a work email, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go to work today. I'm going to call this day off early. So that's Lowestoft.
Nice.
What you heard?
Sonic Waffle.
Listen.
Right, that was episode 6 with the Don Wrongtom. You can find Wrongtom on Twitter at the Wrongtom. He's so worth following. He's just a stream of hilarious consciousness, a wealth of amazing music knowledge, as you no doubt heard in that, and just generally likes to take the piss. Absolutely fantastic. You can obviously find us on Twitter, socials, all that, at Purple City Co. Keep them peeled for the next episode of Sonic Waffle. Go back and check the old ones if you haven't. We've had such luminary guests as Quest, Ruckspin, a.k.a. Dom from Submotion Orchestra. We've had Etch on there. We had the big boss man Visionobi, drum and bass MC. That was a properly long and rambling one. Yeah, all fantastic stuff, really. Go and have a listen. Share them around. Tell some people. Leave those really good reviews on all the podcast platforms. Even if you don't like them, leave good reviews, because frankly, we don't give a fuck what you think. We just need you to promote us. And yeah, please, please, please go and buy Wrongtom's most recent compilation of all of his remixes. It's available now via Tru Thoughts. It's absolutely mad. There's some brilliant stuff on there. Particularly check out, it's a flow down track, but basically he's turned it into kind of like a dub poetry piece, and it's absolutely brilliant. There's a couple Ragga twin ones. There's a London Posse remix, which is absolutely brilliant. There's all sorts. Hot 8 Brass Band. It's really worth your time. It's massive, and it's just a gift that keeps on giving. And once you've copped some Wrongtom, get over to the Purple City Bandcamp, get Jabru's album Ill Conceived. We might have a couple of the Etch EP left, but that's near to sold out, so if there is one, I would grab it now and maybe stick it on Discogs for double, and then just listen to it digitally. Don't do that, that's really bad. If anyone's going to sell it overpriced, it's us. We've got money to recoup. You lot can fuck off. But yeah, so that's that. Sonic Waffle, episode 6, Wrongtom. Thanks to Wrongtom for taking the time. Thanks to you lot for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Who knows when or where that will be. This is just what we do in our spare time, of which we have none. Thanks, bye!